Hello, BookTube. I was gone for a bit, and the books kept coming. So I'm going to mention this a few times in a few videos just to get us reoriented that we do have a gap. We do not have a backlog that I imagine maybe I'll get to it when I wrap up the month or something or other. But in the meantime, I don't want to get any further behind. So we're going to do a few mail packages here just to see what we've done. Let's start with this one here. I don't want you not to be seeing any mail from me. That would be, oh my, oh goodness gracious. Okay, this is from Skyhorse Publishing, and a wonderful, wonderful group of people. And they put out lots of really interesting books. And this is going to be one of them. This is in September. It's by Mick West, and it's called Escaping the Rabbit Hole. Let's see here. And it struck me as really interesting, because don't kid me. If you're online, you've been down a rabbit hole or two. I certainly have. A recent study from the University of Chicago reported that over 50% of Americans believe at least one conspiracy theory, defined as, quote, a theory that explains a situation or event as resulting from a secret ploy by some powerful group, close quote. Moreover, the Pew Research Center describes the American public as more ideologically polarized than at any point in recent history. This book provides a practical basis for the art of debunking. The book explores how and why individuals get sucked into the conspiracy rabbit hole, analyzes the psychology behind this widespread phenomenon, and examines 4 conspiracy theories case studies. And the 4 case studies are chemtrails, 9/11 controlled demolition, false flags, and flat Earth. The book, I haven't read it yet, but I'm not going to be able to wait until September before I do. In case you're unfamiliar, there are bottomless rabbit holes for each one of those 4 conspiracy theories. Chemtrails is the idea that mysterious government agencies, especially in America, are seeding the air with who knows what, with mysterious chemicals, and the chemtrails that you see, the vapor trails that you see in the sky overhead, are that, and that under normal atmospheric conditions they wouldn't happen. 9/11 controlled demolition is the theory that 9/11 was an inside job, and that the planes were, if anything, window dressing. And the linchpin on which controlled demolition hinges is Building 7 of the World Trade Center complex, a 50-story office building that wasn't hit by a plane, and apparently wasn't burning all day long, and then collapsed straight down. There's video that 9/11 truthers view as the holy grail of the building falling straight down, in a way that they superimpose all kinds of video footage of other buildings being brought down with controlled demolition and say it looks exactly the same. And the other one, what was the other one? False flags. Actually, false flags would apply to any of these. False flags is a broader concept, a conceptual, spiritual conspiracy theory where events are staged by a shadowy, presumably pseudo-governmental organization to distract from something else. So, and no matter what the tragedy is that happens on, this is one of the things that is going to cause my non-American readers to back up even a little further from the idea of traveling to this country. But in America, if there's a tragedy of any kind, instantly, people with megaphones, people with platforms, people with TV shows, cable radio, podcasts, YouTube videos will immediately, you can count, dozens of them will immediately step forward and claim that tragedy was a false flag, that none of it really happened. You saw it over and over again. Every time there's a mass shooting, for instance, these people come out of out from under the rocks where they live and say nobody really died. They were all crisis actors. This is all a false flag. And then there's the last of them, which has exploded in popularity in the last 2 years. I can't imagine why. And that is flat Earth. And you might think, okay, what does that signify? What's that euphemism for? No, not a euphemism. It's actually true. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people now in the West in the 21st century who believe the Earth is flat. There were at first only a couple of dozen videos, usually by the same anti-Semitic racist who lives in Thailand. But now there are hundreds of thousands of videos. You couldn't watch them all in one day. You couldn't watch them all in 1 week. And more added all the time of people who believe the earth is flat and that all the science and the proof that it isn't, which is, 2,500 years old, is all part of a plot. The largest false flag operation conceivable. That is real. That actually happens. And the rabbit hole here, the danger that the author is talking about, is that if you watch too many of those videos, you'll start to believe it. I have a higher opinion of the sanity of most people, I think, than most people do who worry about rabbit holes. And yet I go down these things all the time. I don't believe any of this garbage, but I love watching it. I love watching it. There's really nothing that helps with writing. If I've got a dull patch of writing to do and I need some auditory entertainment, there's really nothing that helps better than picking a rabbit hole, particularly juicy, good rabbit hole, and diving right down it while I'm writing. If the writing is, rote stuff that I don't have to pay any attention to, which is unfortunately a chunk of what I write. And I recommend it to you too, because I don't think any of you are dumb enough to watch 10 videos and then all of a sudden think, there's something to this. It's also important for you to do because you live with these people. If you're in America, you live with these people. These are your country people. So I can't wait to read this. It zeroes in on a topic that I really find fascinating. So let's see what this next one is. Sorry for the long digression, but I was in a rabbit hole just today. So and now that I've read the description of this book, I realize that it's been a good 2 months since I did a chemtrail rabbit hole. I might have to do that tonight. Oh my. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay. All right, this comes out in September. This is by Christian Goschel, and it is Mussolini and Hitler, the Forging of a Fascist Alliance. From 1934 to 1944, Mussolini met Hitler numerous times, and the two developed a relationship that deeply affected both countries. While Germany is generally regarded as the senior power, Christian Goschel demonstrates just how much history has underrepresented Mussolini's influence on his German ally. Okay. All right. You're going to have, well, that's great. That's great as a theory. You're going to have to work really hard. I know these documents. I know this period. I've read every single piece. I guarantee you I've read every book that's in this book's bibliography. And that simply isn't true. That contention, as far as I know, simply isn't true. Mussolini had no effect on Hitler whatsoever. It was a tool to be used, like a spade in the ground. But maybe this all will convince me otherwise. In this highly readable book, the author, a scholar of 20th century Germany and Italy, revisits all of Mussolini and Hitler's key meetings and asks how these meetings constructed a powerful image of the strong fascist-Nazi relationship that still resonates with the general public. His portrait of Mussolini draws on sources ranging beyond political history to reveal a leader who, at times, shaped Hitler's decisions and was not the gullible buffoon he's often portrayed. The first comprehensive study of the Mussolini-Hitler relationship, oh my god, oh no, no. No, this is not the first, or the 100th, or the 500th. Oh my. Oh, that was like a sour note in a symphony. Let's pretend we didn't read it. This book is a must-read for scholars and anyone interested in the history of European fascism. And Christian Goschel is the senior lecturer in modern history at the University of Manchester, where has held visiting positions at the European University Institute in Florence. What else is he? Oh, he wrote Suicide in Nazi Germany. Did he really? He wrote Suicide in Nazi Germany, which I really liked. That was really good. It showed a very canny, nimble use of primary sources. That's wonderful. That gives me a lot of hope. Because if he can bring that approach to this subject, he might change my mind, which would be great. Although there's a bit of a straw man going on in that description. Not many historians consider Mussolini a buffoon. But they have to come up with new words, with interesting, complex terms, because partner and especially friend, notice the word that even this pub sheet is avoiding is friendship. He certainly was not. Hitler was always wary of anyone, was always treating people as potential traitor. So, and I think that Mussolini was a horrible dictator, yes, but he wasn't insane like Hitler was. So he was a megalomaniac, but he was sane. So I get the impression from the documents that this author is going to be consulting that Mussolini knew perfectly well that Hitler was a lunatic and therefore inherently untrustworthy. Oh, great. All right. Well, this is two books that from a distance from now that I really want to read right now. So let's see if that pattern holds true with the last one. The last one's quite heavy. Oh boy. Okay. All right. Wow. What a mail haul. All right. So it's only 3 books, but it's 3 bullseyes. This also comes out in September. Good Lord. And this is a great big thing. This is by Christopher Andrew. It's The Secret World, A History of Intelligence. The history of espionage is far older than any of today's intelligence agencies, yet the long history of intelligence operations has been largely forgotten. The codebreakers at Bletchley Park, the most successful World War II intelligence agency, were completely unaware that their predecessors in earlier moments of national crisis had broken the codes of Napoleon during the Napoleonic Wars. Oh my God. Oh my God. There are many, many, many contemporaneous diary entries and documents referencing Napoleonic code breakers in Bletchley Park. Okay, well, anyway, let's... and those of Spain before the Spanish Armada. Those who do not understand the past mistakes are likely to repeat them, or perhaps write pub sheets. Intelligence is a prime example. At the outbreak of World War I, the grasp of intelligence shown by U.S. President Woodrow Wilson and the British Prime Minister Herbert Asquith was not in the same class as that of George Washington during the Revolutionary War. In this book, the first global history of espionage ever written, now that's true, distinguished historian Christopher Andrew recovers much of the lost history of the past 3 millennia and shows us its relevance. Okay, all right, fantastic. Not that I'm ungrateful for the 3 great books I got for you in the mail today, but boy, I wish there were a new 1,000-page biography of Prime Minister Asquith. Asquith is a fantastic character. Why hasn't there been one? God, how long has it been since there was a book this big about Asquith? How long has it been since that was true? What do you need to do around here? So I would love that. I should check the Jungle Drums and see if anybody that I have contact with is actually working on one of knows of any who is. But anyway, that's kind of a book-worthy problem. So we've got The Secret World by Christopher Andrew, the history of intelligence gathering. Then Mussolini and Hitler. A key relationship, a crucially interesting relationship, and especially Escaping the Rabbit Hole, which has fired me up to jump down a rabbit hole tonight, and I think it will be chemtrails. So, and if you try it yourself, remember, some of it's infuriating, because a lot of these people are not the brightest bulbs in the chandelier. But even more infuriating, sometimes for me, is when the person is obviously intelligent. Then you have to wonder, okay, you're obviously a smart person. You're obviously a clear thinker. Why are you making a 40-minute video on the Earth being flat? You obviously don't believe it. And then you have to wonder, about elaborate trolling or going for a niche audience or anything like that. It's fascinating. It's a little time-consuming, but it's fascinating. So there you go. That is a sort of a training wheels mail haul to get us going. And here, since she's making God's own fuss, let's give you a look at Frida as well. Here. Oh, look at the people. Oh, look at them all. Hi, aren't they pretty? Oh, aren't they? All right, so there we go. I will wrap it up for now, and I'll see you soon. Thank you, BookTube.